So Bruntz, let me ask you all in all seriousness, as we're getting close to this game week. Fatigue maybe isn't the right word, but are you over or ready to talk about something different than the quarterback situation, or for you, it's that or bust?
I mean, I'm eager to see things. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at. It's this. I don't know if this off season has felt a lot longer than other off seasons. I think part of that is just the anticipation of what this is actually going to look like. I'm eager. I'm eager to have some discussion points about certain position groups that are more based on like what's actually happened rather than like the differing perspectives on how people think things are going to go. Like, I want to have like a substantive conversation about what the running back picture is, based on like guys carrying the football, like that doesn't seem.
I want to see some things.
Right. Like tell me all about how things are. Like show me how things are. I mean, I want to see this defensive line. I want to see if the wide receivers are what, we think they can be. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, it's right about like week 3 of fall camp is usually where I just kind of get tired of it.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, oh, well, how do you get tired of it? I mean, the season's coming up. It's like, well, we've talked this to death. And I think that's the one thing around here that makes it tough sometimes is like, we've been talking about wide receivers every day since April. Like, like we're finally close to Christmas morning. Let's get opening the presents already.
Get on with it.
Bruntz, let me ask you this then. Is there something, and I know that we've had a lot of time to talk between last year, spring, and now. What is there something you don't think we've talked about enough that you're actually pretty interested in seeing? Like, is there something we've missed?
Well, I mean, I think special teams is a concern until it's not. And I think that it's also one of those sections of the game that you can't really talk about a ton, right? Like,
because are they going to make kicks or not?
Yeah, you have. You got to see some things.
A guy is shanking it off the side of his foot, or he's not. A guy's able to get the heck out of the way of a ball at the 5-yard line and not catch it, or he's not. Like that piece of it, we probably haven't talked about enough for how important it's going to be. But I mean, that's just kind of the nature of special teams, I think. So, no, I mean, I think everything's been covered pretty thoroughly to this point. And somebody said something to me the other day, which kind of blew my mind, and I didn't really think about it this way. But the last offensive play that Nebraska ran was the pick, the Chubba Purdy pick. Yeah. Like, just think about how much things have changed in the last 9 months, 10 months since that one play. Like, it's kind of remarkable, and I think that's kind of why I'm eager to kind of see what this is actually going to look like, because so many things are different, but. Let's see how different they actually are.
Okay. So I've been asking this question. I asked it kind of to BC. I think I hit Schaaf with it. I asked Mitch Sherman yesterday. Mitch philosophically took it a little bit different, and I was cool with that. But I'll ask you, during the non-con, will you be reaffirmed that Nebraska is really good defensively, or the offense is markedly better than a year ago?
That's a good question. I think
it's hard.
That's a beautiful question.
Yeah, I think just based on that Colorado game, if Nebraska's defense has a good game and is really flying all over the place and plays well against Colorado, I'll feel better about that side of the ball, I think, and what they can be. Because El Paso is going to run a ton of plays on Saturday, or try to.
I hope people don't forget they have a 1,300-yard back.
Yeah, I mean, Northern Iowa doesn't. I don't think we're going to learn much at all from that game. So to me, it's about Colorado and a little bit about Texas El Paso. So if Nebraska is able to bottle up Sanders and, hold down big plays and get off the field when they have to, I think I'll feel pretty good about that, because I think as much as everybody wants to kind of turn their nose up at what Colorado is, he's going to be probably, top 2 quarterbacks that Nebraska is going to see this year. And I think if they're able to bottle him up, I think I'll feel better about the defense being better than what they were last year and being like a potentially elite defense. Because I think even as we get into conference play, if that defense takes another step forward, the offense, there's more wiggle room there for the offense and more time for them to settle in. So I think holistically, it's probably better for everybody if the defense makes that next step early on. So I'll go that direction. I think I'll be more. I'll feel better about the defense and kind of what they can be in 2024 if they go in there and handle business against Colorado.
See, that's thoughtful. I like that, because I think sometimes the easy answer would be, well, the offense was so bad last year. We're so excited about quarterback play. Well, it's got to be offense, right? But then you could make the case that it's not easy on defense too, because statistically, they were so good in so many categories last year. It would be hard to come out and replicate that.
Yeah.
But you look at who's on that side of the ball after the 12 black shirts, and you're like, well, how can they not be at least pretty good? Like, I think it's a tough question, or a tough answer, I should say.
Yeah, it is. And I think too, they were so good statistically in a number of categories, but there's also like some very key areas where they need to be better this year. The turnovers and third down defense. Like if they're better in those 2 categories, like I think they're going to be really hard to run against. I think they're going to be able to really muck things up front for a lot of people on that schedule. And if they can get better in those other areas, I mean, that's where you go to be like a top 10 defense. And, I continue to think offensively, Nebraska doesn't need to be like a top 25 offense. You'd love that. You'd certainly take it if you were offered it today. But if you get to like 65 or 70 from where they were last year and you don't turn the ball over, I mean, I think that's a pretty good recipe for winning ball games.
I was surprised that the total for the game on Saturday is only 48. Doesn't that seem that seems low, right? But it'll probably be about right.
Close.
Yeah. I think on our Hypecast, I think I predicted just a hair over that. It was like, I think I had like 38 or 39 to 11 or something like that. So
God, I went 38-10.
Yeah, so you're in that neighborhood.
Did you got? I was reading a little bit of it. Do you think that the headset stuff, like, that's going to let El Paso play even faster, right? Like, do we really know how that's going to affect things? I'm eager to see that.
So that's why I think, and you mentioned one of the key stats, that's why I think getting off the field on third down is so important. Like, you just cannot allow a 40 plus or 38, 39, 40% plus conversion rate on third down if you want to get off the field in any reasonable manner. Because, again, they got a guy with 230-plus carries from a year ago and 1,300 yards. Like, but all we keep talking about is pace and space and get. There's multiple ways that they can play this thing to make it uncomfortable for Nebraska, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Nebraska's going to have to be really careful in those first couple of possessions of how they handle things too. Like you're going to have to be able to kind of roll with whatever they're showing you that maybe you hadn't seen when you were, watching all these various programs on film and things like that. I mean, I'll be eager to see how they kind of settle in that first quarter and how quickly they can, because I think that can be a challenge. I think whenever you're playing a team that's, new head coach, new system, first game. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, like, it could be a little bit frazzling in that first quarter.
We're talking with Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. Bruntz, if I could give you one of either improved turnover creation on the defense or improved third down efficiency on the defense, meaning getting off the field more. So let's say you go from 38 to 30% on defense and or on third downs, and let's say you go from what they create 14 turnovers last year to 24. Which one of those would you prefer?
Oh, I think I'd probably take the extra turnovers. I mean, even the percentage that you
That's
named there, you know, that percentage, you can win with that percentage, especially if there's turnovers involved. Because I mean, you kick it up another, what do you say, 10 more turnovers?
Yeah. So basically 2 a game.
Yeah, I mean, I would take that. You know, I take that. I'm getting off the field, you know, more frequently. I think I take the turnovers and go with that. I think that's where that's a good number to get to. I think for them.
Bruntz, when you're like in its totality, are you watching this team week to week, or are you more interested in? This is without revisionist history. This is kind of how you're thinking about it right now. Are you bunching or clumping these stretches for Nebraska, or are you kind of a one game at a time for them?
You mean like on the schedule, like, you know, these 3 games?
Yeah, the evaluation purposes. Are you like, well, I'll wait till after blank, or ooh, can't wait for this? Like, how are you kind of looking at it in your head?
I think the non-conference is I kind of clump it that way in my mind. You know, week to week certainly, but I think by the end of non-conference play, you'll have a lot more clarity about what that running back picture looks like. I think you'll have
seen some things.
You'll have seen some things. You know, I believe this is a team that like Matt Rule said the other day, that can be playing its best football in November. Like I think that's certainly possible. So I think you got to be careful a little bit to write the book too much at the end of September. But I think that's kind of an effective milepost to say, like, okay, where are we now? You know, you played one team that, you know, has some really good athletes in some places. You played 2 kind of walkover teams to a degree. And, you know, I think you can kind of start to see who can help you and who can't. You know, there's some guys that are going to have to be depth pieces on defense that you're going to get a good look at them, I think, in 3 games, especially the inside linebackers and how that all shakes out. And you know, special teams too. I mean, I that's kind of how I look at it. Is I'm watching week to week, but the first 3 games I think are kind of the first you know, section of the season that you really kind of have to dig in and see how they are going into conference play.
It's crazy. I prepared myself to evaluate the offense much differently than the defense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's like I'm willing. There's like a lot more grace with the offense, even though it's come with some expectations. It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard to be really good young.
Well, I mean, you have to think about the single digit number picture, right? Like, which
95% representation.
Which side of the
90
side of the ball, based on that?
Come on, Jamie.
That picture, would you expect to be good right out of the gate?
Yeah.
All right, Bruntz, we got like 30 seconds here. Let's get a season win total prediction from you for Nebraska.
I go 8-4 against
It's unanimous.
I don't want to drink too much Kool-Aid, but I think 8-4 is an okay number.
There we go. You're in good company with the 8-4 pick.
Yeah, with everybody that we've asked. I'm kind of.
I think it is. I think it's unanimous.
It
so
is.
far.
I'm surprised.
Bruntz, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the college football, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Bruntzy.
Right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Yep.